Alright, this is a quick video on installing the Rinnai tankless water heater. I am not a licensed plumber, so something I've done here will probably void your warranty, but if you would like to try installing it on your own, this is what I've done, and hopefully it'll help some other people who would like to try this on their own. It did take a bit longer than a normal water heater. The reason I'm switching to the tankless version is because we had a chimney here. We're doing some building upstairs, so we couldn't use this chimney anymore because it wasn't going to be tall enough. So we were taking out an old, well, it was actually a pretty new gas tank water heater, and I've installed a couple of these, which is pretty easy. This one was a little more difficult for a few different reasons. So I'm just going to go over some of the problems that I had, which will hopefully help some people who might want to install this on their own. So the first thing that I had to deal with was the venting issue. The old water heater vented right out the chimney stack here, but we couldn't use that anymore for this version. So they had two different options. They have the concentric venting or the dual pipe venting. The concentric venting, you have to purchase a special tube, which actually has two tubes inside of one. So there's kind of a intake on the outside, and the exhaust is another separate tube on the inside of this. The other option is to have two separate tubes. So if you take this cap off here, this would actually be the intake, and this would be the exhaust. I started doing that, and then I realized that using the concentric tubing was going to be a heck of a lot easier. So I did have to special order this, but I think it saved a bunch of time. Now the first thing you want to do when you're installing this thing is figure out where you want it to be in the. You need it to vent to a nice, open area. So there's a lot of restrictions onto where you can actually have this vent. I'll go outside so you can see where I put mine. So you can check the documentation, but more or less you want to be about a foot away from anything. That includes, overhangs, it includes windows, it includes doors, includes other vents or other intake valves. So this is a concentric venting thing here. So the air is going to come in here, and then when it exhausts, it's going to come out this tube. And so those are actually two in one, which makes it a little bit easier, so you don't have to drill two holes in your wall. You can just do one. Although it is a little bit bigger. This is a 5-inch tube, and if you did twin PVC pipes, you'd have two 3-inch tubes. But you want your location of your water heater to be as close as possible to where it's going to vent out of the house. You can have your venting run, up to 60 or 100 feet. So originally I thought that I was going to vent it way over there on the other side of the house where our furnace is venting, and after kind of trying to figure out how I was going to navigate those venting pipes going across this stuff, I realized it was a heck of a lot easier to just do it right there. So I would suggest using the concentric venting and try to get your water heater as close as possible to where you can actually have that vent go out the side of your house. All this stuff, the special stuff, I ordered on a website called supply.com. It was the cheapest place that I found everything, and they shipped everything pretty quick. That includes the water heater itself. So I'd recommend going to supply.com. So once you've got your venting, you found a good place, you want to mount this thing to the wall. That wasn't too hard. Drill a few holes in here. There's two brackets. There's one on the top and one on the bottom. You should probably, try to get in there as sturdily as you can. I put 3 screws on the top of mine, and on the bottom one actually just have, let's see if I can get it, just have one screw, which kind of keeps it from wobbling around. Which probably isn't the best, but it works. You do want it to be level, so try to level it out before you get it mounted up there. Then go ahead and install your tube venting. We have a brick house, so I just drilled a layer of these bricks out. I kind of sealed it up with plumber's putty around the vent, and that kind of keeps the air coming out. Once you get your venting and your water heater mounted to the wall, the next thing that I did was gas line. So this requires I would recommend a 3/4 inch gas line coming in. You do have to install a valve as close as possible. I didn't do this, but after looking, I wish that I had installed a union right here. I just went straight to the T. You do want to install one of these things, which is like a little drop off for debris and stuff when your gas is coming in. But again, if you're doing this, I would recommend installing a union right there before you start. I didn't install my union till way the freak up here, so if I ever want to take this thing apart, I'm going to have to undo all this crap. Anyway, gas line really wasn't that hard, just measuring, making sure everything fit up. Again, make sure that you use a 3/4 inch line coming in. Next was the water lines. This was a little tricky just because I had to route everything. The old water tank, the intake and the outtake came straight down here. So you're going to have to reroute things. Again, this uses a 3/4 inch water line, both for the intake and the outtake. So however your old water tank was set up, make sure that you've got a 3/4 inch going in and out, then run it all the way down. This water heater comes with these things which you need. This is contraption. This is the pressure valve. In case it has too much pressure, this is your kind of on and off switch for the hot water. This thing up here is to help purge the line if you ever need to get all the water out of the tank. And then the same thing on the intake for the cold water, on and off, and a purge line. There's another thing up here, a little filter. If you unscrew that, there's a filter inside of it. When I first installed this, they said to open up that and make sure it wasn't clogged. It was totally clean, so I don't know why they had me do that, but I did it. So make sure you install all this junk. Try to get a good shot of how that looks. And this thing, I don't know what it's for. I didn't mess with it. This thing back here is for condensate. So if there's condensation that builds up inside of the unit, it's going to drip out of here. They say to run a line out of that condensation thing into some kind of a tank. I didn't do that. I figured it'll just drip on the floor here. But you should, if you're doing this correctly, put some kind of way for that liquid to drip somewhere into a bucket, or ideally you have it run this other line, which is going to a drain over there. Once you get everything hooked up, electric. Electric was really easy. There's a power cord. I installed a new little box there. It's just a 120 volt. Just plug it in. Easy peasy. So once I got everything hooked up, I was worried there was going to be some issues. There really weren't. Just make sure all the valves are open. You press the on-off button, press this button to set the temperature. The priority light is going to be green. That just means it's ready to go. If somebody's using it, flip on the hot water. and it'll take a minute for it to kind of warm up. You see that red light just came on? You can hear it, it's kind of whirring. There we go, it's lit, and let's see if the water is hot. It's hot, so great. Everything's working. And that's it. So I hope that this helps somebody, and good luck with your installation.